All right, Shalom. Shalom. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS Toronto, and who we learn the truth from. And salutations and blessings to you elect out there, pushing the truth. So this is GMS Toronto, doing it in class for Passover 2025. All right, you have a lot of things happening just this night, right, with the moon. You know, brothers got scriptures, bring them out. Bring out whatever you got. Bring out all the artillery.
Benny.
You know?
This is the book of Joel,
Put it there.
chapter 2, verse 28. And it reads, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth."
Yeah, so even other nations, they're going to have dreams, and they're going to see things, and they make YouTube videos. They come out and they make YouTube videos, say, look, I saw this. You know, some of them might be bugged out, but some of them might be through filtering the scriptures and find out, oh, this is actually what the scriptures are saying. They seen the Lord coming, they seen the ships, you know. So it doesn't matter if they're heathen, that doesn't mean that they're a prophet. The Lord is just using them to show, you know, the future, in a sense. And they're petrified, because they actually see it, they feel it like the prophets. Go ahead.
"Blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and the terrible."
Blood moon tonight?
Mhm.
That's right. Eclipse.
Yeah. I know eclipse.
"Before the great and the terrible day of the Lord Yahweh come." That's it.
Go ahead. Jeremiah 10:2. But thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. You have more? Yeah, just going into what the elder was saying, like there'll be heathen that may see something, document and do videos on it, but that doesn't make them a prophet. They're like, oh, what's that kind of thing, right? And they're in awe, but we have the knowledge of truth in the scriptures to decipher what it is. Right? Something ominous, something serious, some serious judgment is coming to pass, man. The death is coming, man. Right?
Brothers are seeing visions.
Yeah.
You know, like that video of the brother.
Yeah.
He's seeing, you know, he was beamed up in the chariot and he went into like a hall.
Yeah, I met it.
He went into a hall and basically niggas was Israelites were being judged, man. Israelites were being judged, the 2/3. Right? So it's a fearful thing. And that one, this brother, Bunyamin, he has a vision too. The same night too. Ecclesiastes 43:6. He made the vision also to serve in her seasons, for a declaration of time and a sign of the world. For the moon is the sign of the feast, and the light that decreases in her season. So this is what's happening. You know, the moons have signs, right? So the brothers, it's like there's going to be a blood moon and an eclipse. So these are spiritual, right? You know, things is going to change. And we're in the month of March, which is the god of war. You know, so a lot of things is going to kick off. You know, and this is our new year right now, the Passover. You know?
It was warm today. It's 21 degrees.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, very warm.
Warm since I've been.
Warm ass day. When I'm outside in the hoodie, I'm like, yo, it's warm as fuck. I look, I'm like, it's 21.
Yeah, so this is the real,
Spring.
Yeah, the real spring.
New Year.
Real spring.
Yeah, New Year. Yeah, they call it a total lunar eclipse blood moon.
Jeez. The moon is called after her name, increasing, wonderful in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of the heavens. That's pretty much it.
I got a precept. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 25. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea
the stress of nations right now, these Edomites, man. Canada, US tariffs and all that stuff. EU tariffs.
And that goes back to what you bringing out Joel 2:31, because it's twofold. Because when the sun is, what does it say? The sun shall be turned into darkness. That means knowledge, the knowledge that they're depending on, is going to be fleeting. It's going to flee from them.
That's right.
Right?
Says, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for the looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory.
Hey, Benji, where are you there?
This is Luke 21 verse 27 now. Just finish it up with 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption is drawn nigh.
So when you say men's heart filling them for what's coming on the earth, the apostle brought it up. That was them. That's the missiles, right? You give a ghost when you see the missiles coming out of the sky, but it says look up because your redemption draws nigh. So us hopeful elect, we're looking forward to how I say come up hither. So them missiles coming down, and we want to be redeemed up in them chariots, all right? And we don't watch a person's or a person's incredulity, because we're warned about that as a token, like the last days and all the scoffers, people that disbelief. We don't care about that. We just care what the Bible says, and it's what we're our faith in. Okay?
Yeah. We need to disregard anybody talking about anything outside of this truth. We don't care about their opinion. Their opinion does not matter.
Just bring this. Yeah, bring this one.
Where you at?
That one?
Anybody got something?
Yeah.
No,
Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof. Then you have Basham that said, occupy till I come, right? That means to keep busy, right? You don't have time to be talking about you're bored right now. Like this is time where everything that our forefathers, was hoping to see, right? And we know where those men coming back, right? So this sort of prayer is being answered in the ancient time. This is a regeneration that we're in, right? We don't know what Israel is, but he's back somewhere. Woe is me, because he didn't see, right? He didn't know about Yahushua coming to do what he did for us. He was writing prophecies, but now we know through the scriptures that, hey man, we're over the elect. We're at that number that was called. Right? Finish it off. We'll seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, right? Ancient who? Ancient Israelites, man. The 1/3, the over elect. Those are the men that prophesy and sigh and cry, right? About the abominations that's done, right? You think 2/3 care about the Lord dying, right? They won't give him up.
They want Barabbas.
God, is he? That's what's his name? What's his name? Gorilla. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
We must fast for him.
Right.
Right. Pegasus. We must go fast for him.
Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck that.
Alazar.
The most I might have mercy on them, but it's like we don't give a fuck about that guy.
Good. Yeah. Alazar Bansada. Right.
That was it?
Done.
I had the word perplexity, right, when you brought out that scripture. The word perplexity, aporia, I'm going to look it up in the root. It means to be without resources, to be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed, to be in doubt, not to know which way to turn. So that's the perplexity. These people are every day is narrowing more and more. The walls are closing in. These people are trying to escape through whatever, drugs, Netflix, whatever vices, whatever they try to escape with, everything is narrowing down, even sin. There's a time when their sin is rampant, and then there's a time for judgment. We're in the time of judgment. People don't have money now, they're complaining, right? But soon you're going to be wondering, how am I going to pay rent? Never mind the food, how am I going to keep the heat on? So these are all perplexities.
Like we said, Habakkuk 3 verse 2, the English said about perplexities, right, and judgment, right? So it says Habakkuk 3 and 2 says, "O Lord," the Lord's name is Yahweh, right? And through his son we're saved, Yahushua. I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Yahweh, what Yahushua, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. Right? And that's a very humbling prayer to be sent up each and every day, man. That like I said, we're not promised anything, so we're the hopeful elect. So it's through faith that we're asking the Heavenly Father to remember mercy and day of judgment.
That even when the elect is going to be beamed up, you don't know what if the 2/3 certain of these other those guys who sold out, you don't know if they might be up there and being judged. So it's going to be a fearful thing,
Even
to even be in the chariot.
you don't know, even if you're in the chariot, you still don't know.
Yeah.
Going back to the brother's dream, where he said he was in that venue, and there was a whole bunch of men from every camp, right? Even those that are affiliated with us but are not directly in GMS, and that death angel was going to and fro, and just at certain men he would stop. The other men he would just right through Ginsu, right? So yeah, it's gonna be a fearful time.
That actually happened in my dream too, where
That was
one of the
yesterday,
angel, the dream I had, one of the angels said, "I will put you out." So the angel said, "I will out you, put you out." So even in the chariot, it's a fearful thing, even being in the chariot, because if you're not right and you're in the chariot, the angel's gonna put you in the abyss, man.
Calcio,
Yeah,
Art of Dark.
like he'll do that. Yeah, that's what happened in the dream.
Spew you out of his mouth, so to speak, huh?
There's a brother, he had a dream like that where IUIC got beamed up and got put into the red room. It was like a room and
Right, yeah.
you know?
And he seen the skull, was the same brother that seen the skull, yeah.
But they were like, in the same dream you're talking about, they were like showing off, like, yeah, we made it.
Yeah, first, yeah. We
first.
got beamed up. We told
Yeah.
y'all niggas.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cocky,
Oh, wow.
cocky and shit.
So, like, let me just real quick just read this part because I didn't finish it. It says to have no way out. Example, to be at a loss mentally. These people, they're gonna really lose it, man. You know, like a lot of people, they live off different opioids, even Advil and Tylenol. These little things that people live off. I got back pain.
Yeah, those dopamine hits.
Yeah.
Yo,
And when they can't get it,
that's it, bro.
Yeah,
So I
that's
can
it.
go ahead.
no, that's right. When they can't get their
It's
dopamine
also-
out,
Yeah, you have a fix, yeah.
all hell zombies are gonna be walking in the streets, man, going crazy.
There's a lot of functional cokeheads,
Mhm.
doctors, bankers, you
Yeah.
know, people who have
People
soft
have
jobs.
to-
You know what I mean? Yeah.
People that's heroin, they're functional addicts, you know.
But what if, even you niggas, what are you niggas gonna do when you can't get your weed, right? That day.
Where you can't get your cough syrup to drink.
Or your pills.
Right, pills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pills.
Yup.
Yeah.
They're
They're
gonna bug out.
bugging out.
Yeah, fine.
That was it? Scripture.
Sorry.
Ezekiel 9:4.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
And the Lord said unto him, Go through the
Hey,
midst.
Slaki, we used to say this on the highways. Remember, Bunyamin?
Yeah.
Brothers used to say it.
Yeah.
Like the death angel's gonna come in,
Yeah.
and then whoever has that mark, it's just gonna stop.
Yeah.
And then the brother just had the dream.
Yeah.
Like we used to say that years ago, but in the spirit,
Yeah.
we didn't know what we were saying even, because like we're just reading scripture, but the
Yeah.
spirit.
That's
You
what
know,
happened.
so that's that mean.
So you open up this with Joel, put Shema, but most up on the right? So it's right?
Yeah.
And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the forehead of the men that sigh and that cry for the abomination that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said, Go hear it. Sorry. And he said, in my hearing, go ye after him to the city and smite. So this is a death angel. Let no man spirit. And this could be just one angel just killing. Right? Because that's what happened to Israel during the ancient time, right?
David.
Yeah, when David, that one angel, he killed tens of thousands of Jake.
And he was gonna keep going. The Most High had to say, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
That's
The
one
angel
angel.
was gonna keep going.
One angel could take out the whole planet. I believe that. That's what your
Well,
command.
they made a movie like that, the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah.
They made a new one, but there's an old one in black and white.
Yeah.
I watched the new one.
Yeah.
I saw the
You
new
know,
one.
and he came, and that was an angel. They showed him like an alien robot type,
Yeah.
but that was an angel.
Yeah.
He came in chariot,
Yeah.
the armies came, but
Yeah.
didn't do shit.
And to the other he said in my hearing, Go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children. So you know, so that vision what the brothers have been seeing, man, it's not gonna be a nice thing. Cause the angels don't give a, the angels follow the Heavenly Father's commandments, you know. So if they want somebody, if the Most High wants people dead, you know, it's, you know, like they're messengers, right? Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man that upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. So these other Israelite camps, you know, who's teaching false doctrine, you know, and that sold out to the Roman Catholic Church, man. You know, with your 501c3 charter, you're gonna be judged.
Hey, and we're going to see it. Most of these men are going to see it.
Yeah.
Read, I have this word here. You brought up the precept in Ecclesiasticus.
And begin at
Read,
my
brother.
sanctuary. That then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, defile the houses and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth, and they went forth and slew in the city. So this is the time that we're approaching.
And what you're describing here is it's the spiritual equivalent to placing the blood on the lamppost during the time of Passover,
Yeah.
right? And that angels are going over.
That's pretty much it.
I have the word declaration because you read that powerful precept, right? Hey, we just told you, right? And it's been going on for quite some time. So this word here, you brought out that powerful precept, and the Spirit jumped on me to bring out the word declaration. It says declaration, explanation, statement of action, stating clearly, right? Hey, these dreams and visions, man. Right? And they were prophesied by the men of the Lord. Hey, the sons and daughters, not you people. Right? Hey, we don't see anybody kicking the door off and coming and say, hey, tell us what's going on. But it's evident, it's clear. So real quick, it says this. Making clear or evident. Right? This is evidence. Hey, we believe those dreams. Hey, because it happened and it was prophesied before. Hey, this place is finished.
These are illustrations.
Yep.
You know?
It's evident.
Yeah.
Straight.
These are illustrations.
Right? Last part of it. It says evident, a disclosure, exposition, right, of action, past participle, stem of declare, make clear, reveal, disclose, announce, right? Declaration. You read the precept. So this thing is real, more real than I'm lost for words, man. But the Lord is killing people. The death angel is here. You see it more clear now. Anyway, that's all I got.
Because real quick, just like in the chapter where it mentions to Ezekiel, look, you know, he looked and he seen wickedness in the walls.
Right.
They're worshiping different gods and stuff like that. So just like in this time, you brothers, someone said about some of the camps being 501c3. Some of the camps, they're actually different with different orders. Some of them could be Rosicrucians, Knights of Malta,
Yeah,
Knights
the
of
Jesuits
Malta,
and- yeah.
different Jesuits.
Yeah.
So that's a serious time.
Yeah, it's a very good
You
point.
know?
Alright.
Because it's different people approach. It's not just one group, okay? You know, like
Right.
they have different, you know?
Yeah,
They have a lot of branches.
They all have orders.
That's right.
I got a precept. This is 2nd Ezra 16. Starting at verse 5, it says, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? It says, may any man drive away an hungry lion the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble?
So those plagues are what? Missiles. Right? There's no way of turning them around. Right? And that day, your 911 won't work. Call them fire trucks, man. They don't want to be saved themselves.
Definitely cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Try all you want, you can't do it. Verse 7, it says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer, right? The mighty Yahweh sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? Right? So it's gonna happen, man. It's a must because it was prophesied. It's in the precepts, right?
Well, in Trump calling for like 2 different occasions, he said the word World War III, and he's trying to hold back those winds. Well, the Moses put a spirit on him to be speaking like that because the wind has to be held back unto what? That time. So we don't know what it is, but if it's no, it's surely, though it tarry,
Waiting for it.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's doing he's doing these tariffs to Canada and the world with the European Union. He's doing tariffs and shit, man. So this guy he's stirring up war, man. Right? Because this is the what do you call it? This is what do you call it? Forgot the word, but basically it's a trade war. It's a trade war we're in.
Right.
And it's going to lead to World War III.
Yeah, he wants to annex Greenland.
Canada.
Right.
You shall hate the war, and then turn on and burn it with fire.
This is good.
Christina Freeland, she had said that the European countries that have nukes should aim it at the U.S.
Yeah, that's what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
Yeah, she
It's
said
a
that.
prophecy.
Yeah.
She said that.
You should make a video.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll
Make
do
a
it.
video.
I did a video on it.
See that?
Yeah.
Just so you guys are.
Yeah, she has a very interesting past. She was actually her mother is Ukrainian, so she speaks it fluently. And so she was followed by the KGB, and they called her one of the most dangerous, or one of the most important dangerous women out there. They said that she was unstoppable when she was ready to do what she needed to do. So she's perfect as being selected to go into government. We know we got Carney in there now. He's a central banker, so it's understandable why he's there. But her, the number 2 backup, is hell of a backup. The backup.
Yeah, and Carney has nothing to do with like politics. Like he's very new in it because he was a banker for the Bank of England.
Right.
He was a banker for the Bank of Canada. He's like the head of those things.
Mhm.
And really, you notice he keeps saying, "Oh, Trump." When you look at him talk, it's like, "Oh yeah, Donald Trump's fault. That's why he's causing all the problems in Canada." But he's never talking about China and what China's doing.
Right.
So this guy's really a communist puppet when you
Right.
really think about it.
Because Ford is all about that. Why are we strengthening China? Why are we should be making our nations rich, right? But Carney, he's just the flip side, the opposite. He's a WEF stooge.
Yeah, he worked for Goldman Sachs.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, he's a stooge.
And also, what you see them doing with this little Carney thing, they're getting Canadians used to a different way of a selection process. This guy just came out the blue. Oh, here's your new prime minister. Canadians are now getting, but they're so dumbed down. No one's questioning.
That's the truth.
Right.
Because none of my people that are in the world that vote, did they get to vote for Carney? Nobody did. They
Right?
just threw him in there. Yeah, you're the prime minister.
It's crazy, bro.
Right? Like, when did that ever happen?
Right. Have a precept?
Oh, no, that's it. Okay.
I want
Go ahead.
Daniel 3, so like it, Daniel 2 and 40, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes, right, that's going into the NATO, the EU, America the Great.
The trade wars that are happening now,
Right.
they're all warring against each other, for lack of better terminology, because of number one on the list is the economy and how some of them are rich, some of them are poor. Some of them got the money to do things. The other half, they ain't got no money. So when Trump is approaching them and talking about, listen, I need everybody to pay their share, that alone is causing disruption. Yeah?
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Which verse is that?
Daniel chapter 2, verse 40.
Okay.
I'm on 42 right now. Verse 43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in those days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
And don't sleep on that miry clay because that's really going into debt. Going into some of these other nations and others. And that's why, what's that lady's name? Christine Lagarde. She's the head of the European Central Bank. She's saying that she's going to bring forth, well, she's working on it, bringing forth the digital euro. Right? And that's going to even up the playing field because that's what they want to ultimately bring in the
Cashless
MOTD,
society.
cashless society, new order, to really wipe the slate clean. So these people don't go into debt. But this was all set up for a reason. This was set up by these elites to crash everything. But really, at the end of the day, it's prophecy, like what we're reading going into the Myri play. The Lord set it up that way, so Yahushua can come in and take this place down.
Yeah, they have this 23rd agenda that they want to install.
Which it looks like the Lord will shorten.
Yeah, it'll be 2027.
Lord's will.
Just going back to the digital euro that she's bringing forth, Christina Lagarde, she said that it's going to launch in October this year, 2025.
Crazy, see how
Right?
she means
So she's waiting for the parliaments to get involved to make it mandatory. So that's the only thing that's really holding it back to be made mandatory. But it's coming. Revelation 13 and 16 on down. If you don't have the mark, you cannot buy it or sell.
And then you got Trump working on the flip side with his Bitcoin push, right?
But even the digital push as well for June. He's trying to get a digital dollar going by June or July.
Well, we're already living in a gig economy.
Right.
They call it gig economy.
And you know who's quiet in all of this? Bill Gates. You don't hear much about him popping up.
Bill Gates, huh?
And he's holding back, But I know he's playing a big role.
You read which verse?
So he's a wanted man.
Daniel 2, I started at 39, I read down to 42, 43.
I'm going to read verse 43 in the NLT. So it says, this mixture of iron and clay also shows that these kingdoms will try to strengthen themselves by forming alliances with each other through intermarriage. But they will not go together just as iron and clay do not mix.
That's right.
So right now it's a scrambling process. But everything's falling apart pretty much.
And, marriage, that's the ancient way of doing
Yes.
things, but
And the
now
line says,
they change the term and they call it multilateral organizations. That's why you have BRICS, the EU. It's all these nations coming together to strengthen themselves and their economies, right? So that's how they get married now, through these different contracts.
That's how they're in bed with each other.
Right. I had something real quick. No, go ahead.
This is Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. So just going into all these tariffs and trade wars, it's all boiling up to it's all boiling up to just overflow into World War III. All these other nations, they're fed up with Trump. Like Mexico's fed up with Trump. They're kind of fed up with Trump. European nations are fed up with Trump. So it's all going towards that that World War III where everyone's gonna go against the horde.
And Egyptian against Egyptian, they're fed up with each other. You're talking about civil war too. That's the thing we constantly leave out, but that's the main thing, right?
Yeah, people's
Because
ideologies and all split up.
and that's important that's important to destroy society because you got to do it. The best way to do it is we seen it with that movie Leave the World Behind. You do it from within, right? That's the best way to destroy the infrastructure.
And then it said in that scripture, they shall seek to the spirits and to the
Yeah,
wizards,
to the
and
wizards,
the
yeah.
charmers. So you can go on TikTok right now and there's a person doing a palm. They say, put your name in. Right away.
Guaranteed.
Right away.
Miss Cleo 2G, no?
This is 2 Ezra's 9:1 in the GMT. It says, he answered, consider all these things very carefully. When you see that some of the signs I have told you about have appeared, you will know that the time has come when the Most High God will bring judgment on the world he has created. There will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. When you see these things happening, you will know that they are what the Most High Power has spoken about since the beginning of creation. The beginning and the end of everything that happens in this world are clear. The same is true in the world above. Wonders and miracles show the beginning of events, and mighty signs show when they end. Some people shall escape destruction and be saved by their good works or by their faith. Well, in KJV it says by their works and their faith. It says all of them will survive the dangers I've described, and will enjoy the salvation provided in the land that I have set apart from eternity as my own. Then those who have ignored my ways and held them in contempt will be surprised when they find themselves in continual torment. This will include all those who have ignored me while they were alive, even though they accepted the blessings I gave them.
That's why it's like, if I can interject, we're living in exciting times, man. To see our enemies going at it together, you know, that's a beautiful thing, man. Because that's letting us know that our kingdom is coming next.
That's right.
You Edomites can't get along. You so-called white people, you can't get along. That's a blessing, man. I love to see that, man.
They're on the street right now in
Yeah.
tents, on the highway.
Because you love it when we're warring with each other, right? Well, I love it when you guys are warring with each other, man. That's a blessing.
The scripture says,
But it's not just the Edomites though, it's all the nations.
Yeah.
You know.
But mainly
Yeah,
Esau.
starting
getting-
with Esau.
Esau's getting hit hard, man.
Yeah, and all of them believe in the same mantra, out of a crisis comes opportunity, right? So why shouldn't we believe the same, right? Through your crisis, we're gonna see that opportunity. We're taking hold of that opportunity right now, holding counsel right now, giving praise to the Heavenly Father right now.
how Bashim Rashai said, the calamity, we shall laugh in their calamity.
Calamity comes.
Right? So this is a time of Jake watching and seeing. And they're like, yes, they're pleased in their spirit.
Come on, man.
It's happy to see the downfall of their enemy, man.
Yeah, man, a big hearty ha for Esau, man. Good, dude. Good for you.
I have a quick piece,
And
sir.
it's like it starts with Esau because that's the first tabernacle of Edom is in Psalms 83. He's the first primary enemy from the womb.
That's right.
They want to be technical from the womb.
Esau, the end of the world, Jacob beginning.
You have Ishmaelites, Elam, Moab, they're catching hell too, but the smart ones, they already left 10 years ago. They already foreseen certain things or got intel or whatever, and they told it. And then the ones that are seeing things now and they can do that, they will. But then there's a lot that they're caught up. You know, they're just distracted by Babylon.
That's right.
You know, by the pleasures of Babylon.
Babylon.
They're gonna get spoiled up.
Yep. You're right.
Book of Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. So they persecuted the 12 tribes, man. They came to the Americas, right, and they destroyed our people, man. Alright, so now they're strung out on fentanyl, drugs, you know, then homeless encampments. You can't feel sorry for these devils.
No,
man.
because now, so like they're making it an issue now because Edomites are strung out on drugs.
That's right.
When Jake in the 80s was strung out on crack, right? They didn't give a fuck. They made it their sole job to lock Jake away, right? Destroy the so-called black family.
Yeah, that's when they
right?
made the war on drugs.
Yeah, war on drugs, right?
War on drugs.
That was the sole mission to sabotage you Israelites, right?
And what did they say? It's not even a war because wars end.
Yeah.
Right.
They
They never end.
they made billions of dollars on the prison industrial complex.
Yeah, that's
Locking
it.
up Jake,
Yeah.
you know, 3 strikes you're out.
Yeah.
Jake doing 100 years over a Ziploc bag of weed.
The football numbers.
Yeah.
And they have the whole rap music.
Gangster
They're pushing for the whole prison industrial complex, and they pay these artists money to push false, to push wicked music, man.
Yeah, they're still pushing that same vibration today, man. Even worse. So much so that the vibration is so wicked that these guys have to take drugs in order to cope, in order to listen to the music. Right?
This is Book of Deuteronomy, Psalm 64:1. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bigger word. That's what they do. You know, even the guy, he runs YouTube.
Leo
Coleman,
Leo
whatever his
Coleman.
name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he,
Amalekite.
pushing, false, pushing that false music, man, that wicked vibration. Who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Some do they shoot at him and fear not. They incur themselves in the evil matter. They communally in snares privily. They say, "Who shall see that? Who shall see that?"
Yeah, just like the crack epidemic, right? That was somebody that, when you watch that show Snowfall, they don't show you everything, obviously, but when they show you how they were making it, it was played by, you watch the show?
Yeah.
Riz,
Yeah, it was Rizzo, the guy that was in
But-
the bay.
But at the beginning, he's like, do you want to see the wizard?
Yeah.
They call him the wizard.
Right,
He was
right.
the one making that shit.
Yeah.
There wasn't no fucking Jake that created that.
Yeah, come on, man.
You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
make that whole process.
Yeah.
But then later on, he's like, he told the Issachar bitch, he's like, do you know why the DA was created? And she brought us some shit about Hoover, and he's like, no, to oppress minorities.
Yeah.
Giving us
Like,
guns.
and he was CIA. He was CIA. And, you know, he's like, you know why the DA?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like giving us the drugs, the guns, and the black, so-called black community.
Yeah, all came out of Intel Pro.
Yeah.
They search our iniquities, they accomplish our diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and their heart is deep. But Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So they've been nuclear destruction, you know, their final judgment. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away. So that's what they did in the 80s. I think it was in South Carolina, not South Carolina, South Central, and Los Angeles. The CIA, they said, that, you know, like that they admitted to pushing drugs to our people.
Because they needed to fund their
Contra.
The Iran-Contra scandal.
Yeah.
With Oliver North.
It's a covert. That's what
Yeah.
covert
Operation,
operation.
yeah.
Yeah, for the was it not Costa Rica?
It was Panama.
Panama.
Yeah.
Central America.
So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see
Yeah,
them
whistleblowers.
shall
Whistleblowers,
flee
yeah.
away.
Start with Oliver North.
Yeah,
Involved-
Oliver North, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
You got this guy Nick Rockefeller. The guy.
Noriega?
No. With Nick Rockefeller.
You're talking Aaron Russo.
Aaron Russo.
Aaron Russo, yeah.
Right? All these different guys. Some guys that came out with
Yeah,
things,
you're
they just
right,
got
yeah.
taken out.
Yeah.
You're
You
right.
know?
Yeah. It was across the board, yeah. A lot of different faculties were getting exposed. A lot of whistleblowers coming out. Even in our day, it was Snowden.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. This guy Eustace Mullins.
Yeah, murder by injection.
He's a deep, like he goes into a lot of shit. They pretty much they couldn't jail him, so they admitted him to a mental institution.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had JFK.
Con.
You know, they took him out. He was about to go left maybe, or who knows what he was about to do, because it's still shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
They smoked him, you know.
Yeah.
They're not gonna smoke you. These elites.
His driver smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the driver smoked him.
Yeah, the driver.
That's
Even
crazy.
even MLK too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he had that his last speech was like I've been to the mountaintop, right? So he knew, and he felt like I'm delivering my people to a burning house.
The
That's
same
what he
thing
said.
with Malcolm X. Malcolm X got shot up by some niggas.
It's when Malcolm X started saying that you are the Israelites is when they killed his ass.
I think he said you're gonna see your teachers on the streets.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Correct.
He says that.
Yeah, and the elders reference it by saying that corner and ghetto they're symbolic to each other, right? Yeah. So when the scriptures, when you should see your teachers, you should no longer be hid. Yeah. Yeah.
This is Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. Right? That's the Edomites, right? The so-called white people. And it says, And I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste,
That's right.
and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Alright, so the Lord's gonna bring you to naught, man. And how is he gonna bring your cities down? Through nuclear missiles, man. Alright, the leveler. It says,
Satan 1, Satan 2.
That's right.
From Russia.
That's right, the irony, because you're Satan yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Because you has had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Right? Even going into the crack era, 80s, whatever, they furthered the affliction on us, man. Even, they never let up on Jake, man. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood. Even blood shall pursue thee.
I remember the apostle Tahar coined one of the years, I can't remember, turned up.
The year eternal.
Yeah, turned up, right? As you read that part of the precept in regards to, you just read that. Can you read that again?
Oh,
Real quick?
slide.
Yeah, because, no, it's important because, hey, it's evident, man. And you may have missed it, right? That's why we're sitting here, right? Simply put, can you read it again?
From which part? The top or
The
close
last,
to the
the
end?
last one,
Okay,
yeah, the last.
Thus I
precept.
will make Mount Seir most desolate,
Read.
and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. I don't think that's the one.
No, you're at
That's it.
6.
Yeah. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood,
Mhm.
and blood shall pursue thee.
Right.
Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That was the one?
I think it's like 5 or 6.
No, that wasn't the one, but you said it, but the whole point is, it's spring the point of the year of the turn up, right? We're gonna see things more evident. That's the point I wanted to bring out. But it's on record anyway with the apostle. Yeah, with the apostle Tahar, starting with him, right? He was given that instruction about how things are gonna speed up, right? That's what I wanted to bring out. And we're living in that, right? But that precept that you read, it shows following along, man, but it's evident. That's what jumped out on me straight. So we're gonna see it more and more, right? Only the sons and daughters are gonna see it more and more. That's the point that I'm trying to make in regards to the evidence that the Lord is bringing. Anyway, that's a better.
Well, we talked about Mount Seir and said Edomites. That's because that's where they inhabited. So there's a dark way, right, at a time when the Bible was sealed up. Because I learned that Mount Seir would have been Edomites in church, right?
Like you heard about it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, never.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's why I was
yeah.
like, wow.
It just glossed over, right? So it bring things out, right, and make things known. So which will segue to Mark 11:23. It says, "For verily I say unto you that whoever shall say unto this mountain," right? So you have a nigga outside, what you're trying to use is telekinesis. You're trying to move a mountain. Yeah. And you link the two precepts together. It says, "Say this mountain, be thou removed," right? And this is what we're saying, right? Because it's thus saith the Lord. This is the Holy Bible, right? Because we believe in His prophecies, right? And we've come to the understanding, right? And to make things clear and bring clarity to the onlookers, all right?
I remember when I was watching movies, like when I was probably like grade, I was probably like 5 or 6, and I watched the Flintstones. I watched that movie. The Flintstones are you damn Edomites, man. Petrol. You know, bedrock.
Quest for fire. Flintstone. There was a flint, right?
And those Flintstones, they were like Masons, right? In the cartoon, they show you that. I think I think Buffalo, the
Water buffaloes.
The water buffalo. They're like Shriners or whatever they were.
It says, "Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall no doubt in his heart," so like, "and shall not doubt in his heart." So there's no doubt in our heart that these prophecies are going to come to fruition. Right? We know this is going to happen, and that brings us comfort to see our enemy's downfall, man. But that's why it says in Proverbs that we're going to see it, we're going to laugh. You know, we chuckle at these things, you know, what's happening, you know. We hurried up, we say we hasten it.
We get excited.
God, right? But shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass. He shall have whatsoever he saith. All right, and because we're trusting in Yahweh Shai, right, and we don't segue, or we don't go this way. We don't say what it says right here, man.
That's right.
And we give praise to Yahweh Shai because what he's giving us the clarity. Because we've been in this murky water, right? Esau, Edom, right? The king of Babylon, confusion.
And let me double down on what you brought out too, because you went into mountains and you jokingly said telekinesis, but we know we're moving mountains, we're moving these governments by the words that are coming out of their mouth. Yeah, by the powers that we're displaying right here. There's a brotherhood.
And they're scared because they're seeing the UFOs, the chariots, the skies.
Yeah.
They're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. In the
And they
heavens,
see
right?
what's really bugging them out is that they're seeing us outside. They're seeing us popping up all over the world, all over the globe,
Yeah.
bringing up the truth on them, revealing their skirts, lifting up everything to show them that they're the wicked, man, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
What you said just now makes perfect sense, because that's the reason why you got DJ Trump came out and said the perennial prophets of doom, right? Because he's listening, he's watching the video, he's listening. So he's trying to stop prophecy from being fulfilled. That's the reason why he's trying to make peace with Russia. Because you know, say Russia, you know what I'm saying, not the bomb for bombs, he's going to take them out. You know, so he's trying to prevent World War III by doing that, but he can't stop it.
No.
He can't stop it. No matter what he does, he can't stop it. You know. So the perennial prophet of doom, you know what I'm saying? He said that he's trying to don't listen to them, right? But you have to listen to the perennial prophets of doom, right?
He's listening.
Because he's listening. You know?
Yeah, at the same time, too, he's trying to like basically make America where they can fix America. But we know that Bible says it can fix America.
I was going to grab that.
They said the nations are mad.
There's no bomb.
They said the nations are
They
mad.
can't be healed, man. There's no bomb.
I think the nations are mad. I think it's in Jeremiah or Isaiah.
I got Jeremiah 51. Yeah, Jeremiah 51, start of verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in our iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So her payback is coming, right? It said, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her.
Look at these other nations, man. You know, you can go to Iran and there's a McDonald's. You know, their women are being out of order now. They're tearing the hijabs off.
Iran, 19 prior to the Taliban, they were living all bugged out anyway. You know, they were living all bugged out. They were trying to follow that American lifestyle, and then that's why you have women driving. Oh, you want to drive? You know, you want to take off the head.
Hijab. Take off the hijab.
No, but then now they're wearing the hijab and they're twerking.
Yeah, they're on OF.
Yeah, crazy.
It's around the world, right? So that wine is spread, right?
It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. Right? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country.
That's
for her.
talking. Because we're not saying we're saying contrary to that. Right? So it's some other heathen nation, and maybe 2/3, America, because they have invested in this lies and the 401ks, the cottages, whatever. You think Puff Daddy wants, if he wasn't as lined up, you think he wants his end? No. We're just the ones that say, hey, this gotta go. Hurry it up.
And let everyone go into his own country. The elder had just brought up that point. There's a lot of people seeing the writing on the wall and they dipped a long time ago. Smart. Got out of here.
But even now, people are trying to dip right now because they see the collapse of America, but they're only seeing the internal collapse of America. They're not knowing what's really coming, right? So they're trying to run away from the financial collapse, trying to save themselves.
Yeah, because their pockets is not doing it.
It says, forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Right? Because she's done, man. Because like when you look at America, it's actually destroyed from the inside right now. Internally, it's done.
It's exactly the way they want it.
Yeah, so right now we're just sitting back waiting for the outer part of America to be destroyed, which will be destroyed by the new.
But there's still more internal destruction. Right? There's still civil war.
War, yeah.
More chaos.
I'm not sure how to go into the city and should not be able, you know what I mean?
Yeah, these prophecies have to
50
be
minute
fulfilled.
cities.
And it's been brewing for years. It's been brewing since really before its inception, because the inception of America was we know, was the occult,
Yeah.
right? 1776. But they really got it done. America was a good country post World War II, right? Like Edomites had it, family, everything.
Yeah.
And then you had what? Vietnam and the different revolutions, which that was backed by elites anyway. Feminism, cultural revolutions, all these different things.
And everything that they were doing to Jake as well.
That's right. And now we're here.
Yeah.
It's fucked up time.
Remember those shows on those American TV shows which depicted Leave It to Beaver,
Right.
Happy Days,
Father and son and all that.
Remember, now they're pushing, they're
Yeah,
putting
no,
Mr.
no,
Rogers on TikTok. They're saying a boy is a boy.
You can't.
A girl can only be a girl. And they're like, wow, can we go back to these days? You know?
That guy was off.
Of course.
I got something.
They're Edomites.
This is Jeremiah 50:31. It reads, "Behold, I'm against thee, O thou most proud." And again, shedding light at the most proud, that the Esau Edom. All right.
Because their symbol is the bald eagle. Right? The highest flying bird in the sky. You know, proud bird.
Okay.
You know?
Says Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. Verse 32. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up.
And she's stumbling right now. Right now, as we speak, she's stumbling. Her economy is in a shambles. Her population is in a shambles. Her woman's out of order. You know, they got the southern border is a mess. All kind of sleeper cells in the country. The politicians are fighting one another. You know, a lot of it is theater and orchestrated, but it's all to fulfill prophecy.
That's what the elder and Mayanas went into. You know, it's crumbling bit by bit. Like this happening, you know, and they're trying to, you know, stimulate it with money and can't. Right?
Not be healed.
There's things that they do that make it seem like chaos, but it's to what you're saying about, you know, to a goal. And then there's things that the Most High is actually doing to them. They're like, oh, we didn't see that one. Fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's them going to their prognosticators. Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
You said what this would happen.
The scripture came out that the sun will be darkened, right? So everything that they were leaning on to in the past is no more.
And that's why they're showing their witchcraft so boldly, because they're like, look, fuck it. You know,
Yeah.
like, we gotta just, you know, push
Yeah.
it out there.
Yeah.
Satanism and different
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
videos.
What do they call it? Satanic panic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they calling it now? Satanic panic is what they calling it now.
And they're in the trick bag, the ultimate trick bag. Because Satan answers to the Lord, Yahweh.
Right.
It's his
Right.
son.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a child
Great.
of the Most High.
Yeah.
It's the son of the- it's the son of the-
Yeah, that bird is loves to eat live food, but it's a damn scavenger too. When he can't find food. Hey, that's what we're going into, just in case you miss it.
Oh, you can't eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you eat an eagle, you might die.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's no balm for the pain.
And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. And I'll tell you why. Verse 33. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So that's what it is, man. You've got the Lord's jewels in your hands. Right? You see the Judah, the southern tribe, and the children of Israel, the northern tribe, man. So we're both here. And the Americas. God.
Yeah.
You know? You gotta pay back, man.
He has his IMF, he has all these banks around the world. I think the only bank that they never really got is Iran and a couple others.
They didn't get the Philippines.
Philippines either, right?
No, they didn't get the Philippines. Yeah.
See that?
Duterte. Filipino president.
Yeah. He's a wild boy. Yeah.
The rest of Obama?
Yeah.
He's the one that cursed out Obama?
I believe so, but I know he's, if you're a bad guy, you don't go there.
What they're saying, in martial law, it's in the FYP and TikTok, they're saying it's they're even bugging like visitors. They're putting a bullet in their bags, in visitors' bags, and saying they find a bullet in your bag, you gotta pay them off right there, or go to jail. You saw that?
Yeah.
Put a bullet in your bag.
And that bullet takes a lot of time to get for that one bullet. So they got
Yeah, pay right there, or go to jail.
I got Obadiah 1. Obadiah 1 and 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So like they're friends, all of their friends, right? And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee.
So who eats the bread mostly? Canada has been riding the tail of the curtail of America for the longest. They don't need an army, nothing.
Yep.
And he said about border, isn't that what he's saying? He needs to put secure our borders, right, and prevent fentanyl, all this stuff. So the most, and he said when Doug Ford speaks, he said we're friends. He keeps we're friends, but in closed doors, like
Yeah, but ultimately, I think the idea, and I think, come on, we're all old enough here to remember when they were gonna put everything together under the one currency called the Yamero. I think the same plan is still in motion. So you know how they like to do things, they like to create order out of chaos. And so all this is theater for us. Canada's going against America. You got two choices here. You're either going to get together or you're going to separate. The whore's going to get burned anyways. But I think the ultimate plan is to bring everything together under one umbrella.
Yeah, that's right.
W.
Remember you put in the chat that America owns Canada or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, they own Alaska. They bought Alaska in the 1800s for $7.6 million.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. And I think ultimately Canada, that's the other thing that you have to remember, that Canada is still under a Commonwealth. We're still under British imperialism. So they're owned by the crown.
Technically, America's still crown even.
And there's,
still owned by those bankers.
and it's not the monarchy, the crown. There's an actual abbey called the Crown in London, which is an amalgamation of lawyers and just elite individuals. Yeah.
But it's London City and the city of London.
In a district of London.
It says the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevail against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Verse
They that
8.
eat that bread, taking stimulus, help. Look at that little theatrical breakdown, blow up on TV between Zelensky and Trump. You know, a lot of theory. But he's been receiving all kinds of aid for how many years? Trump kept saying, "Oh, you have our javelins. We gave you javelins." And Vance is like, "We just want to hear you say thank you." Just show thanks, kiss the ring. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And what did Zelensky say? "Oh, you guys got an ocean. You haven't seen your equipment, but you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it." He said what he said. He prophesied, bro.
Then he capped it off with, God bless.
So they received, they received billions of dollars of aid from America, Canada, other NATO nations. So for him to say that, they that eat thy bread shall lay a wound under thee,
Yeah, it's retribution for his allies, man. Absolutely.
Yo, and in the time when the time comes in World War III, Ukraine is gonna be happy to shoot missiles over here, man. He's gonna be happy to bring it over here. Right. This is verse 8. It says, "Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of the mouth of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau." Verse 9. "And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mouth of Esau may be cut off by slaughter." And that's what's coming, man.
And what made Teman so mighty was their knowledge and their wisdom. Because during World War II, man, they were giving these NATO nations hell, man. Or not, it wasn't NATO at the time,
their
but
tanks were way
man,
superior.
they were on some other level,
Artillery,
man. You know?
Yeah, their ingenuity is
That's how Japan became great after World War II. Everyone was like, "Oh, Japan's so smart." They had a lot of German.
Right.
intel.
Yeah.
That's why their
A lot
cars,
of reverse engineering.
technology they got from them.
Right.
It's not just happened. Just came out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah, Hirohito, he was tight with Hitler.
Okay.
You can go do that research. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of technology. That's why they had Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
And the U.S. took a bunch of
Russians.
physicists.
Yeah.
The Russians took the other half.
Yeah, this scientist. Yeah, those Nazi guys, they were top occultists, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were heavy into the occult. That's why they actually went over to, I think, India or some of those places. They were looking into things.
Right. We got Oppenheimer talking about I am the destroyer of worlds of the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think the very first bomb that they did, they actually put an aborted fetus in it, and that in itself was a ritual.
Yeah.
So they're, as the elder said, they're very heavy in the whole.
Yeah, that sounds like some CERN shit. Right?
Yeah.
Aborted fetus.
Yeah.
They blow it up. They also ran down. Remember, it was a race to get to Antarctica.
Oh, yeah.
And they got there first. And there's a lot of mystery and deep hidden shit around that.
Yeah, nobody can go there.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody can go there.
Now, what's that show that was so popular? When you're fighting the ice wall.
Yeah, Con.
Oh, Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. Now it makes a little bit more sense if you look into it, right? Yeah.
You remember that the Most High told Moses to show some things and hide some things.
Told Ezra the same.
Can't show everything. Bug out.
These churches, bro.
Because through time we become weaker through age, right? So they knew that.
Yeah, man, I know it.
Certain things, you know, like you said, it'd be too much.
Yeah.
No, we got enough. We have enough.
I don't know, like, talking
So,
Let me go this real quick. Numbers 35 and 33, just a quick one. NLT. This will ensure that the land where you live will not be polluted, for murder pollutes the land. And no sacrifice except the execution of the murderer can purify the land for murder. That's
NLT?
NLT, yeah. Straight. So, man, that's what's coming to you, Edomites, right? Straight judgment. This land is just unclean. You know what I mean? So, you guys are marked, man. The Lord already marked you guys, man. It just has to play out now, man. And it's well with us. We go to sleep at night knowing that you Edomites will be judged, man.
And it's funny with the NLT because at one time when I was at KJV, right, it said blood. Right. That's straight murder.
Remember, it says Cain was a murder from the beginning.
Yeah.
Execution.
He brought
Numbers 35 and 33 NLT.
35. Read that again. That sounds
Cain,
beautiful.
remember Cain brought in that spirit of murder.
Right.
Right? That was after the flood. I'm sorry, that was after the start of the Eden exile. Right? And then that's why during Lamech's time, he had to kill a man because if the man rolled up on him,
Right, so you brought
that whole spirit was already there.
Yeah.
And that's why the flood came onto me after.
Let me read it again. Numbers 35, 33 NLT. This will ensure that the land where you live will not be polluted, for murder pollutes the land. And no sacrifice except the execution of the murderer can purify the land from murder.
So Esau's blood gotta get spilled in order for the land to be made back whole, made purified.
Let me grab the next one real quick, just to back that up. Revelations. Yeah, Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints.
And the saints are Israelites.
That's right.
And part of the doctrine, right, is pursuing us having to be patient, right, and waiting for this man's demise. Right? So the Bible speaks of, but it doesn't. He speaks about we shall not forget. Isn't that what he said when the so-called bomb, the Twin Towers?
Yeah.
We will not forget.
Yeah.
The Lord don't forget.
Yeah.
He said the Most High requires a past.
Yeah, never forget.
The JWO say never again.
Never again.
Yeah, they say
Oh,
never
yeah.
again.
But Moses says too, man.
Yeah.
October 7th. Remember October
Con.
7th? Yeah, that's right, brother.
Well, I was wondering about this article because earlier we were going into the this like how all these municipal laws are getting shut down, and at the same time too we're going to like all this technology that Israel got from the Germans, like when they divided like the Germans from like one someone to Russia, someone to America, and basically like help this basically like construct the nuclear bomb.
Is someone to Canada too?
To Canada,
Someone Canada.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today? Basically like they're saying basically like the Doge is like Elon Musk's like he's and the Doge, and he's basically empowering all these people that are like basically supposed to like check abilities to check how the Neuralink is being developed, and they all got fired because basically he's trying to basically do it to where there's no anybody like opposing him. So they bring it out coming out of the Reuters.com. It says exclusive FDA staff reviewing Musk's Neuralink were included in the Doge employee firings, sources say. So it says really quick. It says this from February 17th. It says U.S. Food and Drug Administration employees reviewing Elon Musk's brain implant company Neuralink were fired over the weekend as part of the broader purge of the federal workforce, according to the two sources with knowledge of the matter. The cuts included about 20 people in the FDA's Office of Neurological and Physical Medicine Devices, several of whom work on Neuralink, according to the two sources who asked not to be identified because of the fear of professional repercussions. That division includes reviewers overseeing clinical trial applications by Neuralink and other companies making so-called brain-computer interface devices, as the source said. Basically, this man is actually, doing away with all the opposition that's going to come in the way of him bringing in this so-called NWO. So this goes into and he talks about basically the wicked, basically it's trying to fall upon himself, trying to prevent that. Ultimately, you can't go against that. But also, I took a quick listen to it for me. This is the book of Psalms 7. Psalms 7 verse
It's just like since you said Elon Musk, he has a new AI program, supercomputer. And he just bought a property in Memphis, Tennessee. But he's spoken about Memphis before as a correlation to Egypt. And that's where the old Magi's had magic, the real witchcraft was happening. So he didn't just buy it for no reason, old Memphis.
So it says, this is the book of Psalm 8, Psalm 7 verse 8 says, the Lord Yahweh shall judge the people, judge me, O Lord Yahweh, according to my righteousness and according to my integrity that is in me. Let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end. That's what we're doing. Like when you do these videos, when you come against Esau, basically prophesying his downfall, prophesying his destruction. That's what we want. We want this man to be destroyed, because this man is ultimately, bringing wickedness, right? And he has no other person to check him other than the Most High, right? It says, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just for the righteous Most High tries their hearts and reigns. My defenses of the Most High, which saveth the upright in heart, Most High judgeth the righteous, and Most High is angry with the wicked every day. Right? Yeah, and that was pretty much.
Precept. Go ahead. This is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of a power, or of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not a power. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Just simply reiterating, going into the point about Esau. Yes, he has a God complex, but he has become very powerful through his technology, and how he has done research with these scientists. That's why he was able to get the power to split the atom. He was able to get the power to create the chip. And that really comes through inspiration on the left-hand side while he's sleeping too. Because Scripture says, God, be not ignorant of Satan's devices, and it also says that I think it's in Psalms where it says he sleeps when he's about to sleep.
Or he creates mischief on his bed.
Yeah, mischief on his bed. That's the one. He creates a lot of mischief, So Esau, on the left-hand side, he's getting a lot of dreams and insight about what to do, right? But it says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, and Daniel was very wise because we know Daniel was a scientist going back to Babylon, and he was the one that was given all the dreams and visions and the prophecy going into the downfall of Babylon and things of that nature. So this man is very, Esau, Edom, he's on a very high level when it comes to things on the left. And it says, there is no secret that they can hide from thee. Yes, they know all the secrets that is given onto them through the spirit of Paul Yahweh. He knows a lot of secrets that he doesn't bring out. He knows a lot of secrets about the human body that he won't tell you about. He knows he knows the secrets about the Israelites, about what we're capable of in our DNA.
That's why they have that movie or that series Super Cell.
Somebody says, sorry, so today the elder Malcolm actually posted a video and it basically says
No, but Park on Wolf.
It says that Iran reveals CIA and FBI are monitoring Israelites.
But then let's not that last night.
Yeah. So they watch us.
Yeah, so they've been watching.
But they've been, the Israelites have been on the Project McGee for
I mean,
decades. For decades.
Elder, that's exactly what I said, Elder. That we've been doing that, like.
And they're gonna target the Great Millstone because these other camps they already sold out.
The thing about that I know where you got that from. It's a website on well, it's a channel on YouTube called The Bible Stories or whatever, and they got a lot of good stories there. But I went and did the research, and at first AI goes into saying that the stories came from Tehran Times, the Jerusalem Post, and the Middle East Mirror. But when I went to go research it now, I couldn't find it, and I asked AI, "What's up?" And they spit it back that it looks like it might have been scrubbed. Which is why I can't find the article.
That's why a lot of information being scrubbed on the internet.
And they've been doing that for a long time too, scrubbing it.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Certain definitions when you look up on Blue Letter,
Change.
it used to be something, the truth.
It used to be the truth, yeah.
You look it up later, it's like the fuck.
Yeah.
Well, within like 3 days, I looked up what's the hottest continent in the world. No, it's America. It says yes, America. So Son of Brothers. Yeah, look at it again. He goes, no, America is not that good. Right after 2 days, change it, man.
What did they say after?
Africa.
That's what they said, no.
God.
Generally considered.
This is back in Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 4. It says, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten the riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasure houses. And you know that wisdom comes from the left-hand side, which is really called usury. You know, they've perfected usury. And, you know, they bring forth an unjust weight, and that's how they've acquired all this wealth. And that's why they were able to steal the Federal Reserve. You know, first it was so-called owned by the government, whatever that means. But then you have 12 families or maybe multiple families running the whole thing. And now they've stolen it, and now they've stolen trillions and trillions of dollars, and now what are you gonna do?
And they forced the world to accept the American dollar, the standard actual dollar.
Yeah.
They see gold here.
Now they're talking about going back into Fort Knox.
Yeah,
What are you gonna find in
there,
there?
man?
Ain't nothing in there.
Well, they're doing that to gaslight Americans. They all know there's nothing in there.
Yeah, it's all theatricality.
Exactly. And that's gonna, and the majority of Americans, they don't know that. You know, they actually think there's gold in there. So, and he was on stage laughing about it. And he's like, yeah, we should make a whole production. Da, 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 da. So it's just straight up mockery to you simpletons. You know, you're about to bug out when you find out, you know, the reality of the country you live in.
That's right.
Verse 5, last verse, it says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. You know, it's everything that we've spoken of, going back to drugs, you know, they profit off of that. And really they profit off of our misery. You know, we're trafficked too as people. You know, and even if you do it by yourself, because people migrate, they move, they immigrate. Why is that? Because you want to live a better life. You know, that all is all done by Esau Edom. You know, that's all designed to get you to move on about. That's why they destabilize these countries, so they can heap upon all these nations to come up here.
Exactly.
So it's, anyway, that was it.
And then them nations come here angry as hell at America. They fucked up their country. They might as well scam you, fraud you. Fraud you guys, fuck you guys. Remember, they call him the Great Satan.
Yeah.
They know. One of the great adversaries.
This is Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour out upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with fire of my justice. So we're patiently waiting. A lot of judgment is gonna fall. This queendom. So we patiently have to wait. That's it, man. So that's pretty much it.
We'll set her up. That was it?
Yeah.
This is Ezekiel 17, just land backing off what Gabar read. 17 and verse 3. I'll start at verse 2. It says, Son of man, put forth a riddle and speak a parable unto the house of Israel, and say, Thus said the Lord, power, a great eagle with great wings, long wing, full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came unto Lebanon, and took the highest branch of the cedar. He cropped off the top of his young twigs, and carried it into a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants, right, which is America. So that's that land of traffic is that great city America, which there's legal traffic, right? You have the stock market, you have the economy in general, different businesses, and then you have the what they call the black market, the underworld, the dark web, right, where they're trafficking all kinds of illicit things, people, children, you know, weapons, all kinds of shit. You know, so but that speaks to that volume because America, when you look up America, I don't believe it's right now the top importer country, but it used to be. Right, so that shows you that this was a place of consumerism, mass consumerism, and nations can make money off this place.
Yeah, well, what did they used to say about America? We used to build things here.
Yeah.
And it also goes into capitalism too, right? Which is what America is supposed to be built on. But if you know anything about capitalism, you know in order for it to work, there has to be excessively rich people and excessively poor people. There can be no in between for it to really work. And so that's why you see them closing down these big box stores and creating things like the pandemic to get rid of the middle class.
Middle class, which middle class they've always lived on what? Credit.
Credit. Yeah.
You know, fairy dust.
Yeah, fairy dust.
Like there's expiration. So right now you're seeing that dissipating. These people are just bugging out.
And I guarantee you right now, fairy dust is out there in boatload. You can go and get it. I think it's very easy to get credit right now.
Yeah.
Because they're still trying to perpetrate that lie.
A lot of these people, they're maxing out their credit cards. A lot of the Edomites right now.
Yeah.
They're catching hell. They're going to these food banks. Toronto has been under a state of emergency with the food insecurities.
Yeah.
Toronto, Kingston, all over Ontario basically. So these middle class Edomites are catching hell.
But they want you to spend. That's why they'll give you a Capital One MasterCard.
Yeah,
Say, hey,
right.
You know, 29%.
If you have good credit, yeah.
You know, Neo, Tangerine, all these. These are not banks. These are partnership banks.
Right.
So
they're
they're not
like
even
subsidiaries.
real banks. Yeah. You know, they don't even count them as real banks, but they're giving out credit because they still want people to. They kind of want that bond.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's a bomb.
And mass consumerism, but that spirit's done.
It's over.
That spirit's over, man. Yeah, 2023, America was the highest import nation globally. So that shows you this is was that Revelation 18? All the trading, all the different nations coming saying we can set up shops. You know, I have my import business. I can, you know, I have this shipment coming in. You know.
Now Trump is actually like putting all these tariffs on all these countries to show you that America is actually the best way people sell their goods at. So like basically like, you know, these people basically come into produce their goods in America. That's why it's trying to do that by trying to basically like make America great, by bringing these countries in to make the goods there. That's not going to work out.
Yeah, Trump saying, "Oh, we don't need their lumber. Not about us. We don't need this." He's like, "We have so much money. We're going to be great."
We don't know what to do with it.
That's why in Revelation it speaks about anybody who add or take from the Bible, so he's basically adding. Because it wasn't written that we will be made great again.
Well, that's why it's known as what's it called, Babylon the Great, full of abominations, full of harlots. It's just talking shit. That's all it does. It brought Caesar here. Caesar was made over there. We know that in 14. You know, Michelangelo. You know, but then it was brought here and broadcasted really. You know, for the Anglican Church, through all these different churches.
That's a real rebirth.
They really. That's why it says we're all our Lord was crucified. Mentions
That's right.
Babylon the Great.
11 is it
11?
11 and 8. Yeah.
You get that for you?
There's a precept.
This is the book of Revelation 11 verse 8. Revelation 11 verse 8 says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord Yahushua was crucified." Also, if I may add, now they're actually trying to do away with because before you had like AD, which means like another Domini.
Yes.
And
The year of our
CE,
Lord.
But now it's like forget what the new term is, but basically they're trying to do away with that to where it's like a common era and forget what the last one was, what the other one was, but basically before like BCE before
Common
Before
era.
common era.
Yeah.
right?
Now they call it
Yeah,
CE,
yeah,
common
yeah,
era.
Common era.
Common era. They don't
So
call
trying to
it
do
AD.
the year of our Lord, which is Yahweh Shai, and I forget how the word.
Well, they said it. It's the Great Reset, eh?
Yeah.
It wasn't only the economy they were talking about. They were trying to reset everything. Everything that you think of what this place is, and the past history and all the treachery and all the abominations that this place has committed, they're trying to erase that from your memory. So you gotta remember what kind of devil this devil really is.
Well, the sea wasn't for common, it was for Christ.
Comes out.
Right? So they're trying to make you think that the C in BCE was before common era, but for BC was before Yahweh.
Everything's
Before Christ, yeah, so they even removed that.
Yeah, they trying to move that, yeah.
I got this real quick. This is concerning the tariffs. Revelation chapter 6, verse 5, and it reads, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast saying, Come and see. And I beheld, lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hands. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And the oil and wine represents this verse right here is what we're entering into with all these tariffs wars, because things are about to get extremely expensive, more than they already are. And we're actually entering a depression, because although, all you people are caught up in this left-right paradigm when what's happening is two governments are having a pissing contest, and we're the ones who are getting pissed on. These tariffs don't hurt anybody else but the civilians of these countries. So these two guys, and this guy Carney, you guys were bringing out earlier, he's a banker. So those that are in the know, you know what he's about. He's sitting on all these different global think tanks and whatnot. So it's gonna get very serious. Now when you go into that word, taking measure. What I was gonna bring out though, the point of me bringing that out is there's a thing called, because they were talking about how all these local stores, like you're saying, the middle class, all these local stores are gonna
Big
close
boxes,
up.
yeah, mom and
It's
pops.
'cause- right? Because people are not spending money.
Yeah.
As things get more expensive, people spend less money, and the term is called Gresham's law. So it's just when people hold back coins and hold back their money from spending because everything's too expensive.
Not even pay rent.
Not even yeah, con. Yeah, con.
90%
Yeah.
of our mortgages is being defaulted on 90%.
90%. You see. You see.
Wow.
So anyways, all that does is it crashes those businesses anyways.
Right.
So you think you're holding money to help yourself out, but you're actually destroying another man's business, which is going to destroy you because they supply your stuff. You saw as a witch, man. He's a warlock. He knows that
It's a practical theory. If you want the economy to run, you have to bond money. You have to. Money has to be in the equation.
Makes the world go around.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Currency.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're entering this right now, man, and it's about to get serious.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it.
This is Revelation 18 and 14 in the NLT. It says, the fancy things we loved so much are gone. They cried, all your luxuries and splendor are gone forever, never to be yours again. The merchants who became wealthy by selling her these things will stand at a distance, terrified by her great torment. They will weep and cry out, how terrible for that great city. She was clothed in finest purple and scarlet linens, decked out with gold and precious stones and pearls. In a single moment, all the wealth of the city is gone. And all the captains of the merchant ships and their passengers and sailors and crews will stand at a distance. They will cry out as they watch the smoke ascend, and they will say, where is there another city as great as this? And they will weep and throw dust on their heads to show their grief. And they will cry out, how terrible for that great city. The ship owners became wealthy, by transporting great wealth on the seas.
Yep.
Right? And this place operates through something called Admiralty law.
Yeah.
Right, the law of the high seas.
Right.
That's why the bank is a river bank, you know,
Yeah.
like all these different terms.
Mhm.
And now they're closing different streams. That's why the money's not flowing.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
You
right.
know, and what they do is also they take old notes and they put it back into the Federal Reserve, right? And what they do with that we don't know. Right? Like there's old bills and because remember each bill there's serial numbers on it.
Mhm.
It's all accounted for.
Mhm.
Mark, yeah.
You know, so only the bankers they
They know.
whatever game they're running, they know what's really going on.
You know, it's funny, that movie,
They
Den
can
of
put the
Thieves,
tap on.
Con.
and- Yeah.
they
Mhm.
give you a kind of an idea of what they do with that money, how they
Yeah.
rinse and repeat it with it, right?
Gone.
Friend brothers who
Because
ever
they
seen
wanted
that,
to
Den of Thieves?
steal that money, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's watching.
It says the ship owners became wealthy by transporting her great wealth on the seas. In a single moment, it is all gone. That was
Zephaniah 1:10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. And that's going into the bank crash.
Yeah.
You know, this banking system, you know, it's teetering right now, man. But it's all by design. You know, because they got to squeeze you, right? They got to put you in a headlock and they say, okay, here's the solution. You know, it's a sea, it's a grain of rice, right? Verse 11. How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off, right? You're not going to have access to your money. There's going to be no e-transfer. That's not happening. You know what I mean? Tax return, all that's done. It's going to be just a shutdown. You know, people
Universal
get
basic income.
con. Right? Yeah,
No,
yeah,
he
that-
says it changed from basic to
Mhm.
high income. So it's
High income.
yeah, it changed from basic to like high income.
For the rich.
This guy, man, it says that his knowledge is wearisome to him.
Mhm.
You notice he'll change things. Like it used to be fourth industrial revolution. Now it's the age of the age of enlightenment.
Yeah.
He's constantly changing things. So he's constantly keeping up with what we're saying, figuring out what people are thinking, where they're coasting towards. So he's changing things
That's the
constantly.
reason why they don't hear the Great Reset anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, people caught on to that.
Because we exposed it, sir. The apostles and all on down.
Mhm. Mhm.
You gotta read that in NLT.
NLT?
Yeah,
Con. Zephaniah 1:11. NLT. I'll start from verse 10. That's where I read from. On that day, says the Lord Yahweh, a cry of alarm will come from the fish gate and echo throughout the new quarter of the city. And a great crash will sound from the hills. Right, we just saw last week the Dow was down 1,100 points,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
You know, people, everyone was freaking out. News, the ticker was going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, verse 11 NLT. Wail in sorrow, all you who live in the market area, for all the merchants and traders will be destroyed. Yo,
They kill themselves.
Hey, because they think that they're fine. Because what's his name? The guy that owns the Mavericks. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
He says people complain when the stock market crashes, but if steaks were sold for cheap, everybody would buy them. That's how they think of stocks. But these guys are they're fools because this is the Most High's will. So whether it goes up, it's gonna pop. There's a they call it the bubble, ceiling bubble, whatever. And if it goes down, it's gonna tank. Yeah, debt ceiling is gonna tank. So Esau has constantly conditioned their mind to think, okay, when it's down, buy. Trust me, it's gonna go right back up because companies like Google, all these big tech companies, they're not gonna go down. So you got stocks in that, you're fine. But these guys are all gonna tank their own companies because they're all in cahoots with the New World Order anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Mark Cuban is an Amalekite too. He just changed his last name. His last name isn't really Cuban.
Not surprised.
Yeah, he's a Jew. Yeah, he's crypto.
Yeah, it's right. It's right.
Somebody posted in the chat that Warren Buffett was selling all his stocks for cash. He's trying to pull in cash and selling all his stocks. And he like owns every stock known to man, that guy. Yeah.
He's trying to. What did you say? He's trying to what?
He's been selling all his stocks,
Right.
liquidating it for cash.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you're right. It's gonna crash. No, so they dumping spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's also the cause of other people to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's just the what's it called?
Yeah.
He's like the gold, you know?
Yeah.
He's got golding everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
He sells it. It's a trick. And what sells anybody for cheap.
Right.
Yeah, that's what the Rothschilds did,
I was
right?
gonna say
Yeah.
that's how they got control over it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did the same thing.
They know when to buy too. They get that call. They like, oh,
Done.
you know, so they buy before everybody. They front run it.
Call it insider trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Remember that movie, Leave the World Behind?
Yeah.
He was waiting on that phone call, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't get the call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where we at?
Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So we're approaching persecution. We're gonna be what do you call it? We're gonna be what's that movie with Will Smith? We're gonna be enemy of the state. We're gonna be enemy of the state, man. You know, and like some of us are gonna be in prison, some of us are gonna be on the run. For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Because we're being persecuted by these nations, because we're under the curses of Deuteronomy 28:15 to 68. We're under these heavy curses, right? And the Lord is gonna lift up these curses, and he's gonna bless his elect. But they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I raised up upon them. So King David, he's in the spiritual world right now, and we believe that that King Masha is King David, right? And we're gonna find out in the kingdom, right? Right, it says, therefore fear.
Before.
Yeah, that's it.
Before the king.
Yeah, because it's our faith. Our faith. It's our faith, right? It says, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Lord. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So these people in the land of Israel call themselves the J people, the Ish people. They're not the people, right? Because there's not supposed to be no war, all right? But when the elect, once the elect obtains the land, right, they're gonna basically there's not gonna be any war, right? There's not gonna be no nuclear, everything, all that war shit is gonna be done.
And all the abominations that are out there now too, like Pride Parade and
Yes.
and kosher cigarettes and kosher pork and all that nonsense, all that wickedness. They got kosher cigarettes in Yeah.
Kosher cigarette.
Yeah, come on.
They have when you look at their Supreme Court, it's a wicked place. When you look at the architecture, they have a pyramid. There's a lot of shit there.
Over there in the land.
Yeah, that's their Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Ran by the Sanhedrin, and they're talking about the Noahide laws too.
For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all the nation, whether I have scattered thee. Right, because we're scattered, right? The Israelites are scattered from the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere. Whether I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Right? So these guys that's gonna be in the chariot, right? They're gonna be like, yes, I'm in the chariot, right? And then those guys are gonna be destroyed, like whoever those men are, man.
Yeah, because it all boils down to the Apostle Bar always brings this out. It all boils down to you being crowned.
Yes.
Until you're crowned, hey, anything goes. that's why there's a crowning ceremony, because that's like the signet. That's what solidifies that these are the elect.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
I got this. This is Ezekiel 7 and 10. It says the day, and this is the NLT, the day of the Lord, or the day of judgment is here. Your destruction awaits. The people's wickedness and pride have blossomed to a full flower. Their violence has grown into a rod that will beat them for their wickedness. None of these proud and wicked people will survive. All their wealth and prestige will be swept away. Yes, the time has come. The day is here. Buyers should not rejoice over bargaining, nor sellers grieve over losses. For all of them will fall under my terrible anger. Even if the merchants survive, they will never return to their businesses. For what Yahweh Bashim Shai has said applies to everyone. It will not be changed. Not one person whose life is twisted by sin will ever recover. For the trumpet calls Israel's army to mobilize, and that's the spiritual army is the house of David. And the mobilization is running, as the scriptures say, ready plains of them that reach will run. That's the mobilization. We're mobilizing together in the spirit.
Yeah, the dry bones, this bone to that one.
I was just watching the brothers in Chicago, man. It's like a big camp of them. You know, they're out in they're fellowshipping right now.
Yeah.
The whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so it says, the verse 14, the trumpet calls Israel's army to mobilize, but no one listens, for my fury is against them all. There is war outside the city, and disease and famine within. So it's like, you know, Jake, if I fly over here, fly to Ghana, fly to this corner of the world, I'm okay. Thinking that you can, Jonah thought he could hide from the Most High. Look what happened to him. Now he's a man of the Lord, so how much more a wicked Israelite?
That's right.
So it says,
it's like you're better off where you're kind of better off where you know instead of trying to run and escape. Honestly,
you're right. No, you're right.
You know, you don't. When you go somewhere else, you don't know the land. You don't know the. You know what I mean?
Yeah, lay out the people.
Yeah. You know. So.
That's right. It says verse 15. There is war outside of the city.
Salakia.
Yeah.
Because I mean, majority of the people in the world, they don't have a fighting chance anyway. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, because people in the world are like, oh, I need to get out of here. I need to leave. I need to go somewhere else. Whatever. You get, you know, even if you stay, you didn't have a chance. But you had more of a chance. But you're still gonna die if you remain in America because you're in the world, man. You know, you don't have the spirit, you don't have the covering of God, especially if you're Israelite. Oh, especially if you're Israelite. You heathen, fuck you guys.
None of the wicked will understand.
That's right.
They're being sent to judgment, simply put.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a precept. No, you're good. You're good. There's a precept that says that prophesies that we should leave everybody go to their own home.
Right.
That came out. Oh, did it? Oh,
yes.
So you know that's exactly what you're talking about. Because the spirit of Egypt is failing. So it says there is war outside the city, and disease and famine within. Those outside the city walls will be killed by enemy swords. Those inside the city will die of famine and disease.
So that's announcing judgment for here. Famines, man. Because that's what the tariff's all about. Right? It's going to cause a great insurrection. And then when you can't eat, man,
That's right.
you know, that after you, sir, goes out the window real quick. You know? Then I'm sitting here, that gets used, you know what I mean? It used up, man.
Hey, and everybody forgot about the pestilence. Everybody's focused on tariff, money, but you got lack of money, like you're saying, and pestilence. You know, and then you got the anarchy of people robbing, running around, civil unrest.
So you have pretty much plagues upon plagues, poly crisis.
That's right. That's right.
You know, measles, going around now.
Yeah,
that
Con.
was a-
there's an outbreak in Pearson.
Con.
Oh, look at that.
Alright.
It says, yeah, it says verse 17, their hands will hang limp, their knees will be weak as water. They will dress themselves in burlap, horror and shame will come over them. They will shave their heads in sorrow and remorse. They will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash, because they tell you, stock up on gold, get gold, buy gold, but
Yeah.
like you mentioned, when you're starving, you're not gonna eat gold. You rather eat you can't eat gold.
Yeah.
You know? And even if you have a bunch of it in your basement, no one's gonna trade with you
No.
because they want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, verse 19, in the middle of 19, I'll read the top again. It says, they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them on that day of the Lord Yahweh's anger. It will neither satisfy nor feed them. Yeah, see? For their greed can only trip them up. They were proud of their beautiful jewelry and used it to make detestable idols. This is you Israelites. With your Jesus pieces and all this and that.
And that's why the scripture says a man's going to be precious.
Exactly.
That's
true. Yep, that's right. That's right.
And it also goes back to the golden calf, when they were coming out of Egypt. That's when Aaron lost a bit of faith. And he's like, everybody bring your gold here, let's build up a calf because the Lord has forsaken us because Moses didn't come back. So a lot of people are just going to lose faith, put all their gold down and build these idols too, man.
Oh, that's like that guy, Ringo TV, right?
Yeah.
No longer a Hebrew Israelite.
And he's a nobody.
Yeah, he don't know, but
He's a nobody.
Exactly. He's a complete nobody. No one cares whether you came in GMS.
Rasta.
You can't give a shit about that.
Rasta.
Exactly.
We don't know you.
right.
He melt down his gold.
There's no GMS.
He had his channel, but he was going into certain occult type knowledge and shit, and exposing the industry. But talking about he's an Israelite now, he's no longer there.
He's a roach.
That's
Was there more on that? Because I have a quick precept. Is there more on it?
El, I'm on. There's more on that?
No, you're good.
Alright, so this is Numbers chapter 11, verse 32. I was reading this the other day, just thinking about the Passover, even though it's not really linked to it. But when going into the Passover, don't think too much about the Lord just killing you. Just think about the relationship that you have, if it's good or not. Don't get caught up with all these deaths and all the judgment. Just think about building that relationship. The judgment is there for a reason, to be a memorial, of course, to remind you, but just focus on building that relationship with Yahweh Shine and doing things the best that you can, putting your best foot forward.
So the mercy that.
So you can receive that mercy, But this is Numbers chapter 11, verse 32 in the NLT. It says, so the people went out and caught quail all that day and throughout the night, and all the next day too. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. They spread the quail all around the camp to dry. This is going into the mixed multitude and those wicked Israelites complaining about how good they had it in Egypt, right? So they're complaining about not being fed right, they're not getting a lot of nutritious foods. Complaining about, oh yeah, we had the leeks, we had the garlic, we had all this stuff, right? So now the Lord fed them. He gave them all that quail, right? That nice chicken, right? So this is verse 33. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of Yahweh blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. So don't go into the Passover thinking that it's just a dinner. This is not a lamb dinner. Because if you're thinking that way and then you're partaking in it, yeah, the Lord could wipe you out. Because the Lord, he's going to start opening up on the house of Israel. Yep. And that's why that brother, he had that vision the other day, and that was right on time, showing you what the Lord is going to do. If you're not right coming into this thing, whether you have any feelings against individuals, you have any inward agitations that you haven't confessed, or you brought out through the spirit called Yahweh Shai, holy, we're looking at that. You know, you're going to get judged. And then it says, so the place was called Kibarath, right? Which, Kibarath Hatavah.
Which means graves of the belonging.
No, it says graves of gluttony, right?
Okay.
That's what it says here.
This was the
Oh, sorry?
In the Strong's it says graves of belonging.
Okay, so then just a play on words, because I'm reading all of them, so it's different. Same. So it says that graves of gluttony, because there they buried the people who had craved meat from Egypt. So if you're craving things from Egypt, man, the Lord sees it. You know, so you can't bring the things of this world into the truth. That's what certain Israelites are doing. They're trying to bring the things of Egypt, the things of the world, and trying to mix it in this truth. That doesn't fly with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The Lord is a jealous God. If you're not thinking about me only, then I'm going to have to discard you.
That's where the longing comes into play. Longing to be that old man instead of the new man, putting on the new man.
Because when you come to this truth, you're supposed to mortify your members and change. You know, and a lot of people just don't want to change for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
Yep.
And the Lord ain't going to change for you.
That's the reason why that guy fell through the camp on Sakari. He didn't want to let go of the word. He wanted to live in the word and be a part of this thing, but you can't. You got to let go of one of them.
In
Right?
2013, he had the Passover, and I guess they had the Passover, then they went to like a strip club or some shit like that.
Recent.
No,
That's
no,
more
no.
like 2020.
Recent.
That's like a 2020.
No, not like 2023 or 2022. A couple years ago.
It's the same thing.
A couple years ago.
I got something real quick. There's more on that.
I know that was it.
This is and this is what you guys were mentioning. This is why 2/3 just need to be destroyed because they're not right in the mind. They're completely gone. We read this last night. We were doing a live, but this is a very good illustration of why the Most High is just gonna, when he comes, he's not doing no talking. The talking is being done right now through the prophets. When he comes, it's just judgment. So this is
Like this nigga on the screen.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Talking.
That's on. Yeah.
So,
I don't know where the remote is. I was gonna take that shit out.
Somewhere.
it's here.
That's so packed it is. But a lot of listeners, man, they got a lot of views too.
Yeah, you know how long I keep side eye looking at this guy.
Yeah, I got it. So this is Ezekiel or number 16, and yeah, I'll start at 39. No, 40. So it says, this would warn the Israel. Or let me start at 41. This is, but the very next morning, the whole community of Israel. So this is after, just for some context, you know, Korah stirred up a rebellion towards Moses and Aaron. 250 followers, a hole opened up, swallowed them down. Then a chariot was there, and laser beams, basically 250 men, killed them.
The unity camp is coming.
That's right.
Right? You saw Sakari, Mr. Independent. You watched him go down. It's evident. Hey, that's what it's going into.
Yep. Yep. So this is what they witnessed, and this is their reasoning the next morning. Okay. So it says, verse 41. But the very next morning, and these are the same people that Moses went and warned them. Hey, don't touch anything of theirs. Don't touch the tent. So you have mercy on them. Get away from these people, or you're gonna get killed. The same people that got shown mercy next morning. This is what they said. The very next morning, the whole community of Israel began muttering. It says muttering. But it is murmuring. Yeah. They began muttering again against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the Lord's people." So Moses laid it out. Aaron came, or Korah came and said, "You know what, Moses? You and Aaron aren't the only Levites." Da, 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 da. Moses like, "You don't respect your own office. You're a Levite too." Then Moses like, "You know what, bet. If these guys die a normal death, the Lord's not dealing with me. But if they die a strange death, i.e. the hole open up, blah, 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 then you know the Lord is dealing with me." So the whole thing was played out in front of Israel. The rebellion, the guy who was rebelling, obviously got put to death, and so the followers. You see that, you should know that, okay, this is a man of the Lord. These guys weren't a man of the Lord. But no, they woke up in the morning and they said, "You guys killed them." That's how these people reason. It's judgment. That's why I forgot what brother was doing the lesson, but he mentioned a good phrase. He said, Israel does not know the difference between mercy and judgment. The whole thing was Pegasus. You know, what GMS is looked at as the reason why Israel has that outlook on them. But you don't understand judgment.
Okay.
You're calling for mercy, but that was judgment. Okay, so the same spirit's coming back doing the exact same thing. So it says, you have killed the Lord's people. As the community gathered to protest against Moses and Aaron, they turned towards the tabernacle and saw the cloud had covered it. And the glorious presence of the Lord Yahweh appeared. Moses and Aaron came and stood in front of the tabernacle, and the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from all these people so that I can instantly destroy them." And Moses is pissed, man. Yahweh Shai is mad because when Moses was speaking the first time, Moses couldn't even let him finish speaking. So it tells you right before he was even done speaking, the Moses lay open on them. So
That's why they call us a hate group, because we have so much anger.
Khan. Yep. So it says, get away from all these people so that I can instantly destroy them. But Moses and Aaron fell down on the ground, and Moses said to Aaron, "Quick, take an incense burner." You can imagine the moment. He's like, "Quick, go, get the incense!" Fumbling, running around, serious stuff. And it says, and Moses said to Aaron, "Quick, take an incense burner and place burning coals on it from the altar. Lay incense on it and carry it out among the people to purify them and make them right with the Lord Yahweh. Yahweh's anger is blazing against them." So they're dying. They're hearing screams. People are dying while they're trying to get the incense burning together and everything. The plague has already begun. Aaron did as Moses asked him. I'm going to skip down. This is the main point here. It says, verse 48. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died in that plague. In addition to those who died in the affair involving Korah. Then because the plague had stopped, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tabernacle. So within 24 hours, 15,000 Israelites were, boom, taken off the face of the earth. In a horrific fashion, man. This is a blood moon. It's going to be a blood moon tonight. So Most High is going to get busy. That's a message to all the Israelites that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear spiritually. You got Israelites that are jumping on certain brothers' channels when they do lessons about the full moon or the blood moon. And they're saying, "Don't be dismayed at the signs, Zach." That's a response to it.
I was gonna say that 14,007 that's 14,000 is 7 and 7, so that's complete balance, right? Because completeness, and then 700 is right. So yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Let me get this real quick, Elder.
Alright, get one last one, we're closing up.
And being dismayed at the signs of heaven is not even going into that. It's going into the Luciferian ideology. There's spring equinox and all of that bullshit. But just to back you up, Psalms 110:3, thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning thou hast the duty of thy youth. Right? But the point is that we need power, man. People have to die. People have to see strength to understand what's going on. When you see heads roll, that's when people are going to get in line.
That's right.
It's not now.
That's very true.
Alright, so with that, we're going to close up. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh.
Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash.
Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS. Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Abad Baba.
Abad Baba.
Ashar Pasach.
Ashar Pasach.
Shalom. Sunday, no?